So I've done other videos on this, but I'm going to do it again so that it's all in one continuous thing. So the only thing you really need before you start asking people to join your syndicate is your story in words and your story in numbers. So your story in words has really a few main parts. The first part is your vision. And you're telling a story, you're trying to give a really clear picture about who the market is for your product or service, what is their problem today, how you're going to solve that. And you want to speak in very visual terms so that somebody can get a good sense of what it is you're doing. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they kind of get too caught in the gears, but we're really looking at a big picture, like what's the problem that people are experiencing, and what's your solution, and what's it going to be like for those people once they are using your solution? How's their life going to look better? The next part is your aha moment, because people like to be inspired. So if you tell the story about how you got inspired, then you'll inspire the people who listen to your story. The next part is the milestones. So what are the major milestones you're going to follow to get to your goal? And if you have an overall sales goal, then you're going to say, well, here's the steps that we need to take to reach our goal to impact the market at this level. And then the last part is a kind of a provisional budget, and that'll get developed more in your story in numbers. You don't really need it to get started, because you'll see that when you do this process and you write the story this way, you'll begin to see that you're in the leader state and you're just naturally starting to talk to people about your project. And when you talk to them, you're giving them little tidbits of information. And if they ask questions, then you give them more. So, one of the big jokes in the entrepreneurial world is, how do you know if an entrepreneur is pitching? Because his lips are moving. And you don't want to do that, because that's like everybody else. If you do that, then, people are going to try to push you away. But if let's say somebody comes up to you, you're in a coffee shop and an old friend comes up and they say, hey, nice to see you, what are you up to? You say, oh, I'm building this world-changing company, or I'm building, I'm starting a restaurant. And that's all you say. You don't say anything more, because you've got your story, you know it really deeply, but and if the person says, oh, that's cool, yeah, my kid just graduated from college, and you know that there's no interest. But if that person says, really, what kind of restaurant? You say, well, it's going to be XYZ, and then you just stop again. And they say, maybe they'll say something, God, well, that sounds like a really hard project, what are you doing about that? You say, well, actually right now I'm building a syndicate of people who can financially back the project. And, we're going to give everyone a free meal as well if they join the syndicate, when the thing opens. And you just kind of let them pull you to them. That is the real secret. And in fact, I like to talk about push marketing versus pull marketing. In the day of the internet now, if we look at, say, like Facebook, they're trying to push their ads into your face. And nobody likes having ads pushed in their face. So that's why you just do a little push. If they say, what are you up to? I mean, you could say anything. You could say, oh, I'm going to the gym 3 times a week. But you might choose to say, well, it just so happens I'm working on starting a restaurant. And so you just gave a little push of info into the space, and then that's it. You just drop it. Now, pull marketing is like Google. Google, people try to pull information to themselves. So they enter their question into Google, and then they get an answer. And so what you want to do is essentially be the Google of your business, where you get the other person interested with your one push out, and then they start pulling the information to them. And as long as they're doing that, you know that they're actually interested. And the other thing about that is that when you're trying to raise money, a wealthy person, they've got all the money they need. If they're going to be investing in your kind of high-risk startup, you're looking for people who have more money than they need. Now, a person that has more money than they need, what's their biggest concern? How to optimize their time. They don't want to be with time wasters. So if you take advantage of their attention and start pushing more info into their space, that's a trust breaker, because now you're consuming their most valuable asset, which is time. And then they can't trust you. So the way to develop trust from the very beginning with investors is just listen and really try to understand their question deeply before you answer anything. So that's the basic step for your story in words.